What if your mind was never inside your head? What if your consciousness wasn't bound by your brain, but woven into the very fabric of time? You've been taught that your thoughts are chemical reactions, that your awareness is the product of your neurons firing in the dark caverns of your skull. But this belief is not only outdated, it's incomplete. Because your mind was never confined to your body. Your mind is a radiant extension of divine intelligence, a thread spun through the tapestry of the quantum field itself. This is not metaphysical poetry. This is theological quantum reality. You are not simply a biological machine receiving signals from the world. You are a transmitter, your spirit, a beacon, sending and receiving information through realms unseen. Right now, as you read these words, your awareness is stretching far beyond the limits of your skin, beyond the time-bound world you assume you're trapped in. You are not inside your body. Your body is inside your consciousness. Modern quantum physics is slowly catching up to what mystics, prophets, and spiritual teachers have whispered for millennia. The mind is non-local. That means your consciousness isn't generated by your brain. It's only channeled through it. Like a radio receiving waves already in the air, your brain is a device that tunes into a much larger, much older signal. This signal is the voice of divine consciousness flowing through the quantum field. Your soul is participating in a cosmic web of entanglement, threads of light connecting all that is. When you think a thought, feel an emotion, or focus your attention, you are not simply reacting to reality. You are bending it. You are choosing which version of reality collapses into form around you. You were never just observing reality. You were always co-creating it. What you call reality is not fixed, not absolute. It is a simulation generated within you, a living interaction between your inner state and the infinite potential of the field. Your past, your emotions, your beliefs, they all act like filters shaping what you experience. Neuroscience confirms this. Your brain doesn't record the world like a camera. It predicts the world like a prophet. It builds your world from memory, habit, and subconscious instruction. Most people never realize this. They walk through life convinced that what they see is truth, never noticing they're looking through lenses crafted by trauma, repetition, and fear. They react to a world they've unknowingly projected. They feel trapped in the very cage they've constructed with unconscious expectations. But the truth is, your mind is creative, it's powerful, and above all, it's entangled with outcomes, people, timelines, and potentials that already exist. You are already in contact with your future, with the version of you that has healed, that has expanded, that has remembered, and every moment you're either drifting into a default version of reality shaped by the past, or consciously aligning with the one your soul longs for. This is the entanglement shift, awakening to the truth that you are not a receiver of time, but a bender of it. You don't just move through reality. Reality moves through you. The quantum field is not far. It's not out there. It is you. And your thoughts, your focus, your faith, they are the code that shapes it. If your reality is only a mirror, what happens when you change the image it reflects? Most people believe that life happens to them, that circumstances are like storms, arriving without warning, unpredictable and unchangeable. But what if that perception isn't truth, but programming? What if you've been projecting a version of reality onto the screen of life and forgetting that it came from inside? Here's the truth that disrupts everything. You are not reacting to life. You are reacting to the simulation you created through patterns that run so deep they feel invisible. This is the sacred loop, a cycle where your unconscious beliefs, your habitual emotional states, and your past wounds keep creating the same outcomes over and over. Not because fate decrees it, but because your frequency aligns with it. Your mind is like a projector. The film running through it is your conditioning, your emotional memory, subconscious expectations, and ancestral code. And the world you see outside, it's the moving image on the screen. You're not watching life, you're watching your programming in motion. This is why different people can experience the same situation entirely differently. It's not the event, it's the lens. One person sees rejection, another sees redirection. One sees threat, another sees opportunity. Why? Because we're not perceiving truth, we're perceiving resonance. You are constantly broadcasting a vibrational message into the quantum field. This message isn't made of words. It's composed of energy, feelings, thoughts, core beliefs. And the field responds with precise neutrality. Not with what you say you want, but with what you embody. If your baseline emotional state is fear, lack, or doubt, then that becomes your dominant frequency, and the quantum field mirrors that back through circumstances that affirm it. Not to punish you, but to awaken you. This is the divine grace of reflection. It reveals what we're emitting, even when we're unaware of it. You may say, I want love. But if your nervous system is still wired for abandonment, your energy still pulses with suspicion, fear, or unworthiness, then you'll likely attract relationships that confirm the old pattern, not because love isn't possible, but because your frequency doesn't match it. Yet. This is the loop. You long for change, but respond with the same energy as before. You pray for newness, but act from fear. You declare abundance, but vibrate scarcity. And so, the same life keeps appearing, again and again, dressed in different names, faces, or jobs, but echoing the same spiritual signature. It's not fate, it's feedback. But here's the miracle. The moment you see the loop, you've already started breaking it. Awareness is the rupture. Consciousness is the key that unlocks the pattern. The field doesn't demand perfection. It responds to coherence. When your intention, emotion, and attention align, the field must rearrange to reflect it. This is not mystical exaggeration. It's quantum law. It's divine design. Even science confirms it. Your brain is predictive, not passive. It doesn't capture a static world, it forecasts a probable one. Meaning, what you expect, you find. What you fear, you feed. What you honor, you invite. So if your life feels familiar in all the wrong ways, it's not because you're stuck. It's because you're powerful. So powerful, in fact, that your subconscious has been running the show without your permission. The real question becomes, will you keep creating by default? Or will you begin to create by design? Once you realize that the world around you is a reflection of the world within you, you stop blaming the mirror. You start shaping the signal. And from that place, the loop becomes a ladder. Every pattern becomes a portal. Every trigger becomes an invitation to shift. Your old life doesn't trap you. It trains you for the quantum shift that's already waiting to happen. You don't get what you want, you get what you vibrate. The universe isn't ignoring you, it's mirroring you with sacred precision. Right now, as you move through life, Your every breath is a broadcast. Every emotion you feel, every thought that circles your mind, every belief you quietly carry, they're all forming a signal. That signal doesn't disappear into space. It enters the quantum field like a divine signature. And the field, unwavering and just, responds accordingly. Not with judgment, not with favor, but with exact resonance. This is the holy algorithm of reality creation. Your inner world writes the code, and the field decodes it into form. You may think your life is shaped by effort, by willpower, by conscious planning. But in truth, your conscious mind is only a tiny boat on a vast ocean. Neuroscience confirms what ancient spiritual traditions already knew. Your subconscious governs 95% of your behavior, decisions, and perceptions, which means if you desire to manifest love, abundance, health, or peace, but your subconscious is steeped in fear, scarcity, trauma, or shame, then your energetic broadcast will cancel your conscious prayers. It's not your words the field responds to. It's your coherence. This is why affirmations can fail. You may repeat, "I am safe," but if your body trembles with anxiety and your soul carries unhealed abandonment, the field receives the frequency of fear, not faith. You say, "I am abundant," but the internal signal still cries out in lack. And so the same patterns return, not as punishment, but as a mirror, an invitation to align. Think of it this way: the quantum field is like a cosmic womb, capable of birthing any possibility. But it doesn't respond to begging. It responds to being. If you are being fragmented, anxious, or doubtful, then the field reflects realities that echo those states. But if you are being whole, grounded, trusting, then the field bends in your direction. That's not magic. It's magnetism, sacred physics. And this is where quantum events begin. A quantum event is not just something strange that happens. It's not mere coincidence or luck. It's the collapse of potential into form, initiated by a shift in your internal frequency. You think a new thought, truly think it, not just mentally recite it. You feel it in your bones. You embody it as truth. And the field, recognizing the new signature, draws forth a matching thread from the quantum tapestry. And suddenly, something changes. You meet the person you've been waiting for. An opportunity arrives that aligns perfectly. An inner knowing awakens that changes everything. This is not random. This is coherence meeting creation. And the truth is, you've already experienced this. Moments when you felt in perfect flow, when things just worked, when you thought of someone and they called, when you decided to grow, and the right teacher, book, or challenge showed up. These were not isolated miracles. They were echoes of your own energetic precision. The problem is not that quantum events are rare. It's that most people create them unconsciously. They're broadcasting fear, confusion, or limitation without realizing it, and then wonder why chaos or scarcity seems to find them. But once you awaken to the sacred law at work, you no longer collapse realities by accident. You do it with intention. The field doesn't care about appearances. It cares about alignment. You may look calm, but vibrate chaos. You may look confident, but radiate shame. You may smile, but emit abandonment. and the field responds to what is true, not what is masked. So what does this mean for you? It means your responsibility is not to control life, but to attune yourself, to become energetically consistent with the version of life you long for. If you want love, become the vibration of love. If you desire abundance, train your nervous system to feel what it's like to already be held. If you seek purpose, embody alignment before clarity arrives. Because here's the paradox: the event doesn't lead the frequency leads the event. This is why change often feels sudden, not because it came out of nowhere, but because your signal finally stabilized. You tuned in long enough, deep enough, and the field had no choice but to respond. It's law. Sacred, ancient, quantum law. So stop waiting for evidence. Become the evidence. Stop rehearsing the old patterns. Start rehearsing the new resonance. Not with force, but with faith. Because every moment you are shaping the quantum clay of creation. And every signal you emit, consciously or unconsciously, is a seed being planted. Quantum events are not reserved for mystics or saints. They're happening in your life now. The only question is, are you creating them by default or by divine design? What if those coincidences weren't coincidences at all, but confirmations that the fabric of reality just responded to you? You've had moments you couldn't explain. You think of someone you haven't spoken to in years, and suddenly they text you. You feel a strange urge to walk a different path. And there it is. The sign, the message, the moment that shifts everything. You speak your intention into the silence, and within days, life starts moving in that direction. You called it intuition, or luck, or maybe even fate. But what if those moments weren't external blessings, but internal alignments? What if they were quantum events, snapshots of the field responding to your frequency? This is where the real magic begins. When you realize that your thoughts are not empty, your emotions are not private, and your energy is not isolated. The quantum field is alive. It is conscious. It is responsive. It's not some mystical cloud far away. It's the very substance in which your soul is immersed, and the moment your inner state becomes coherent, clear, focused, emotionally charged, the field listens. It listens and it answers. Not with words, but with arrangement. It reorganizes the structure of your experience to reflect what you have broadcasted. It moves people, events, and timelines into alignment, not through force, but through resonance. This is a quantum event, the intersection where your internal reality bends the fabric of space-time just enough to collapse one possibility into form. But here's what most people miss. It's not about effort. It's about energetic match. The future you, the one who is healed, expanded, thriving, is not far away. They exist now in the quantum field, vibrating at a frequency higher than your current habits. And when your current frequency rises to meet that future you, the event doesn't happen. It unfolds. Not because it was manufactured, but because you became ready. This is why sometimes change seems instant. One moment you're stuck, the next, everything flows. Not because life suddenly decided to be kind, but because you aligned with a version of life that had always been waiting. The problem is, we don't recognize these shifts when they come. Why? Because we expect fireworks. We expect dramatic revelations. But the field speaks in whispers. It speaks in patterns, in echoes, in the repetition of numbers, faces, and phrases that seem too precise to be random. When you are open, when you're listening, you begin to notice these sacred breadcrumbs. And suddenly, a random song lyric holds the answer to your prayer. A stranger speaks words that crack open your heart. An unexpected delay reroutes you to the perfect opportunity. This is not chance. This is divine design communicating in quantum code. You are not just observing these moments. You are entangled with them. You pulled them into existence with your frequency. You magnetized them through inner coherence. Let's be clear. Quantum events aren't miracles reserved for saints. They are natural outcomes of vibrational alignment. The field doesn't play favorites, it plays frequencies. And the moment you emit a signal strong enough, consistent enough, clear enough, the field bends. Reality bends. But most people don't hold that signal long enough. They declare an intention, then doubt it. They visualize for 5 minutes, then spiral into fear. They feel joy, and then return to stress. And so the signal collapses. The frequency shatters, and the opportunity passes by unnoticed. This is why most people live surrounded by missed quantum events. They're happening all the time, but go unrecognized, or worse, dismissed as coincidence. But here's what you must know. God doesn't waste alignment. When your heart, your intention, and your emotion become one, creation cannot resist you. The field must move. The fabric of time must respond. This is not superstition. This is sacred law. The same law the mystics called faith, and the physicists now call entanglement. And yes, these events can look subtle. A door opening that seemed impossible, a conversation that changes your timeline, a dream that turns into direction, a thought that turns into truth. But if you learn to live with attunement, you'll see them. You'll begin to notice that reality is always talking to you, not in language, but in frequency. The shift in tone from chaos to calm, the weight that lifts without explanation, the invisible hand that seems to guide you when you dare to trust. And you will know, this is the field. This is grace meeting resonance. But to receive these moments, you must prepare your signal. You must become a steward of your state. Because quantum events don't answer your hope, they answer your coherence. So ask yourself, am I living in the frequency of what I say I desire? Or am I rehearsing a reality I no longer want? When you say you want peace, do you carry peace in your body? When you say you want abundance, do you treat life like a gift or a burden? When you say you want love, do you love yourself enough to believe you're worthy of it? Because the field won't give you what you wish for. It will give you what you resonate with. And once you understand that, you stop trying to force outcomes. You start mastering your frequency. You start speaking the language of the field, not with words, but with alignment. And then, when the phone rings, when the door opens, when the delay becomes destiny, you won't call it chance. You'll call it what it is, a quantum event, the signature of your spirit inscribed upon the fabric of reality. You don't manifest by force, you manifest by becoming. Here's how to create quantum events, not with effort, but with embodiment. By now, you know this. The field responds not to your words, but to your vibration. Your reality is not changed by what you want. It's changed by what you are. So if you want to consciously create quantum events, those sacred, reality-bending moments where possibility collapses into your lived experience, you must become more than a thinker. You must become a transmitter, a vessel of alignment, a living frequency. This is not about manipulating the universe. It's about attuning yourself so completely to a desired outcome that the universe has no choice but to mirror you. It's not control, it's coherence. The divine pattern responds to energetic integrity. Below is the sacred four-step process, not a trick, not a shortcut, but a realignment with your creative birthright. These steps are the alchemy of intention, energy, and embodiment. Step 1. Clarify your sacred intention. The quantum field contains infinite versions of you, but it does not respond to vague wishes. It responds to clear transmission. So before you do anything, decide, not just mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Declare with your whole being, this is the version of me I am choosing to align with, not, I hope this happens, but I am becoming this now. What do you desire to experience? Speak it with specificity, but then ask the deeper question, why? Because desire without emotional resonance is hollow. You must feel the why. Does your intention resonate with your soul or just your ego? Does it serve your expansion or only your comfort? Your intention must be more than words. It must carry the charge of destiny. That charge is what creates the magnetic pull in the field. When your why becomes worship, your signal becomes unstoppable. Step 2. Embody the frequency. This is where most people struggle. They think change must happen outside before they feel it inside. But in the quantum realm, it's reversed. The feeling is the seed. The event is the fruit. If you wait to feel loved until someone arrives, you broadcast lack. If you wait to feel successful until money appears, you vibrate scarcity. But when you embody the frequency now, when you choose to feel it in advance, you begin to resonate with the timeline where it already exists. So ask yourself, how does the healed version of me feel? How does the abundant me breathe? How does the aligned me walk through the world? Then feel it fully. Close your eyes. See that version of you standing tall, heart open, eyes clear. Don't imagine becoming them. Realize you already are. That version is not fiction. It is a frequency already within reach. Feel it in your nervous system. Let it saturate your breath, your posture, your tone. Practice it not as fantasy, but as remembrance. This is the essence of spiritual quantum technology, to generate the internal experience before the external proof. Because your body becomes the altar, your breath becomes the offering, and your emotional resonance becomes the prayer. Step 3. Expand your signal into the field. Once your intention is clear and your state is embodied, it's time to move beyond yourself. You are not just a person hoping for change. You are a field interacting with a greater field. So extend your energy. Visualize your frequency expanding beyond the limits of your body, filling the room, the sky, the space beyond time. See your signal ripple into the quantum field like light across still water. Feel yourself merging with the fabric of divine potential. But don't visualize outcomes as things arriving to you. That creates separation. Instead, see yourself already standing in the scene, already living the reality. Speak from it, not to it. Example: don't say, "I want healing." Say, "I am the healed one. I carry the frequency of wholeness. It flows through me now." You are not summoning, you are synchronizing. This is not imagination, it is vibrational communion. You are creating entanglement with a future outcome, and once you entangle, the universe begins to collapse that version into the now. This is sacred physics, divine resonance. Step 4. Release and trust the field. Now comes the paradox. Once you've clarified your intention, embodied the feeling, and extended your energy, you must let go. Let go of how it comes. Let go of when it comes. Let go of controlling the details. The quantum field does not operate by linear logic. It moves through convergence, not calendars. The moment you try to force an outcome, you send a signal of lack. The moment you cling in fear, you disrupt the frequency of faith. This is the hardest part for many, the surrender. But surrender is not defeat. It is participation. It is the holy act of saying, "I trust that what I've aligned with is already in motion." And from that place of surrender, you remain in the frequency, not waiting in desperation, but walking in expectancy, because the field doesn't need your control. It needs your coherence. This is the path of the quantum disciple, to become so saturated in the feeling of what you've chosen that no external confirmation is required for you to know it's real. And then the signs begin. You see the number, the message, the opening. You feel the pull, the timing, the inner yes. Quantum events are not forced. They are received, and they always arrive with divine precision. Final reminder: you are not a passive recipient of destiny. You are a participant in divine design, and the more you walk this 4-step practice, the more you train your mind, your emotions, and your energy to become the brush with which God paints your timeline. Clarify with conviction, embody with emotion, expand with connection, release with trust, and know this: every time you align your vibration, you collapse a thread of possibility into a lived experience. You're not waiting for a miracle. You're becoming one. You are not chasing the reality. You are becoming the version of you that it's already chasing. By now, something inside you has stirred. Not just information, but recognition, a remembering. You've always known somewhere deep that your life was more than reaction, more than survival, more than random events stitched together by time. You've felt the tug, that inner whisper saying, "This world responds to you." And now you know why. You are not a passive character in a pre-written script. You are the quill. You are the scroll. You are the sacred ink flowing through the field. The moment you stop identifying as the observer of change and start embodying the cause of it, you unlock what the mystics, sages, and prophets call dominion, not over others, but over your own state, your own alignment, your own resonance. You become the axis of your experience. The quantum field was never designed to resist you. It was designed to reflect you, not your wishes, your identity. And identity isn't affirmed by what you think once. It's carved by what you habitually feel, believe, and embody. That is what the field listens to. That is what collapses possibility into matter. That is what shapes outcomes, timing, meetings, miracles. So when your emotional signature is fear, the field organizes itself around survival. When your internal posture is shame, life rearranges to echo rejection. But when your signal becomes trust, coherence, compassion, suddenly the same world feels like a sanctuary instead of a battlefield. This is the shift. It's not that reality becomes easier. It's that you become aligned, and alignment changes everything. You no longer spiral at every delay. You pause and say, "This too is the field working for me." You no longer chase every sign. You become the sign. You stop demanding certainty. You walk with clarity. Because you've stopped trying to attract the future and started becoming the frequency that naturally lives it. You walk into rooms differently. Speak with presence. Pray with substance. Move with reverence. Not to manipulate life, but to meet it from the version of yourself that no longer begs, that no longer waits, that radiates. This is quantum maturity. When you stop asking the field to deliver and start partnering with it to design. When your life ceases to be a reaction and begins to feel like a revelation. And yes, it takes practice. You will wobble. There will be days when your old patterns whisper again, when the fear returns, when the doubt tries to cloud your signal. That's not failure. That's refinement. Because every time you re-choose alignment, despite what your senses report, you deepen your authority. Every time you remember, "I am the signal," instead of "I need a sign," you anchor heaven on earth. You shift from hoping reality changes to becoming the vibration that makes it so. So where do you go from here? You begin to live what you've learned. You wake up not asking, "What will today bring?" but declaring, "What frequency will I choose to walk in today?" You go to sleep not fearing the unknown, but honoring the unseen world still shaping your tomorrow. You see your body as an instrument, your breath as a key, your emotions as indicators, not obstacles. You let desire become devotion. You let clarity replace control. You let trust move ahead of understanding. Because the version of you that collapses timelines, shifts atmospheres, and lives as a conscious quantum creator is not far. It's already here, already awake, already waiting for your permission to take the lead. And with each choice to align, you give it that permission. So don't wait. Be the you who walks in faith, not force, who loves from fullness, not lack, who sees synchronicity not as magic, but as mechanics, who welcomes challenge not as punishment, but as a portal to greater coherence. This is the path of those who shape timelines through trust, who pray with their frequency, and who magnetize miracles by simply remembering who they are. So today, ask not, "How do I change my life?" Ask, "Am I ready to live as the one who already did?" Because the future is not coming, it's calling. And the field is not watching, it's responding. Every breath is a vote. Every state is a blueprint. Every moment is an altar. You are not becoming a creator. You've always been one. Now live like it.